in a spirit of self-sacrifice, even when you don't feel like doing it. So what I'm suggesting is when I love my friend, I evaluate their need, and then I'm going to do whatever I have to do to meet the need in a spirit of self-sacrifice, even if I don't feel like doing it. And this is the kind of love that Jonathan had for David and David had for Jonathan. They loved each other the same way they loved themselves. And this happened to be the same kind of love that Jesus in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 12 verse 31 says that we ought to have for each other. Same kind of love. The same way they love themselves. Jesus says, now this is the kind of love that you ought to have. Same kind of love. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. I want you to love your neighbor as yourself. By the way, love is the sign for salvation. Take me, if you don't mind, take me to John chapter 13, verse 35, if you will. Love is the sign for salvation. If you want to know if someone is really saved, Jesus gives the sign in John 13, verse 35. He says, by this shall all men know that ye are my disciples if you have love one to another. Now, if you're going to love somebody like you love yourself, we make the assumption that if I need to love you like I love myself. Wait a minute. Do not make the assumption, however, that you have a right relationship with yourself. See, part of the problem is this. We're trying to love somebody, but we don't even love ourselves. We are assuming that you have a right mindset towards yourself. We make the assumption that you first love you. Because for some of us, our self-esteem and self-image is so messed up to the point that I can't love anybody the way I love me because I don't love me right. I have to love me first before I can love somebody else. When I love me right, then I can love my neighbor right. And this is the kind of love that friends ought to have. The love that Jonathan and David had was so awesome until that love was verbalized. I want to hang here and I'll bid y'all goodbye. I got 9 minutes left. Let me hang here for a moment. Watch this. They opened their mouths and told each other, I love you. Jonathan and David did not have a problem telling each other that they loved one another. May I ask you a question? That was 1/4 of you. I'll try it again. May I ask you a question? When was the last time you told your friend that you love them? Been a long time for some of y'all. And if you haven't told them, let me just ask you, why not? There's something powerful about verbalizing love. Wow. Wow. Something powerful about verbalizing love. To open your mouth and tell your friend that you love them is powerful. Preach, Pastor. It's something powerful about you opening your mouth and telling your friend that you love them. To hear that somebody cares for you, to hear that someone is compassionate towards you, to hear that someone appreciates you, to hear that someone is interested in your welfare. It's so powerful and therapeutic. It can touch you at your core. Now, I know for some of y'all, this is absolutely crazy to you because you grew up in a home where people didn't say that they loved each other. Crazy to you. You have a circle of family and friends, and y'all have never told each other that you love one another. You don't understand the value of verbalizing and declaring your love for your family and your friends. It's powerful. Powerful. To have your best friend say to you, I love you. Powerful. I wish I could tell you I'm 51 years old and I suffer from some dysfunction in my own love because all I ever wanted to do was to hear my own father say to me that he loved me. I'm talking to you men out here and you mothers who are hard to the core. When you learn how to open your mouth and look at your child and say to your friend, I love you, you will never understand the power and how therapeutic it is. Y'all, I'm all man. But if I could just hear my dad hug me without me prompting him and saying to me, son, I love you. Man, y'all, I can't even describe to you what it would be like for me, y'all. And just like it would be for me, it would be the same for you. If your father or your mama or your friend could just drop all of the pretenses, look you in your eye, and just say to you, I love you. Watch this, watch this. And they not want anything from you. Trying to help you, trying to help you. They're not trying to coerce you, not trying to get you to give up anything. Yo, all they want to do is just convey how much they love you. Yo, we ought to be able to hear people say, I love you without an ulterior motive. There was this husband who had been married for 15 years, and the wife was distraught because she said her husband had never said he loved her. She was walking around in the house upset because he never said he loved her for 15 years. She's mad. So she asked him, Kim, she said, hey, do you love me? He replied back to her with the question, why are you asking me this? And let me help y'all with something. Whenever you ask someone that kind of a question, do you love me? And they answer you with a question, then you already know where that's going. So she said to him, I'm asking because in 15 years, you've never told me you love me. He said, I told you I loved you before. The wife said, well, help me remember. When did you tell me you loved me? He said this, y'all. When we got married, I stood at the altar. The pastor asked us to repeat our vows, and I told you then that I loved you. She said, you haven't said it since then. He said, well, I haven't changed my mind since then. I'll let you know when I change my mind, but I'm still in love with you right now. Y'all, here's my point. Learn how to open your mouth and tell your friends and your family that you love them. Woo! I'm healing someone right now. Because for years you got stuff pent up inside of you. And you have given yourself to the wrong people because you have misidentified love. Love doesn't need something in return. Love sees your need, reaches out to you, and helps you unconditionally. Love, 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 love. So then I see here, y'all, that it was verbalized. Verbalized. Not just verbally, though. Love should not just be verbal. I bring this to a close. But it ought to also be visible. Yeah. Somebody say verbal, but also visible. Somebody say verbal, but also visible. Yo, it ought to also be visible. It's not just articulation, but it ought to also be demonstration. That's why in verse 4, Jonathan started giving to him. Look at it, y'all. Verse 4, Jonathan started giving to him. In verse 4. Okay, you missed it. Back up. Watch verse 3. Give me verse 3. Watch verse 3. Y'all, then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved them as he demonstrated the love. Verse 4. Watch verse 4. He gave him his robe. Let me go back. Verse 3. Look at verse 3. Verse 3, y'all, then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. Well, then what happened next? Verse 4. Jonathan started giving to him. He demonstrated the love. Verse 4, he gave him his robe, gave him his garment, gave him his sword. He literally gave him the shirt off his back. And that's what a good friend does. A best friend will give you their best. Jonathan said, I love you the way I love me. Therefore, I want you to have what I have. Jonathan gives unto him his royal robe. He gave him his military garments. And then he gave him his sword. Wow. When you are a child of the king, you should have no issue giving something to somebody else. Yo, we talk about Jesus being Lord of Lords, King of Kings, and we claim to be a child of the King, and yet we don't give anything to anybody. If you are a child of the King, every now and then you ought to bless somebody. Yo, if you're my best friend, then I want to give you my best. I ought to be able to give you my best. And I don't want y'all just, to give you my best. I don't just want to give you my best. I want to help you to be your best. Because it's not just what I give to you, but it's also about helping you to be the best you can be. And here's something else I see in this text. When Jonathan was big, David had no issue with it. He had no issue with it. Yo, the reason why you can't connect so much with this is because you don't understand. Jonathan is the son of Saul, who's the king. Wait a minute. Isn't this the same Saul who's going to be trying to kill David? Yes. Watch this. So when David goes to the kingdom, he doesn't go in as the king. He comes in as a staff person. He's a musician. Then he's watching Jonathan. Jonathan has it going on. Watch this. David doesn't have an issue with Jonathan having it going on. Watch this. When David gets bigger than Jonathan, Jonathan didn't have an issue with that either. Oh, man. See, y'all, here's why I bring this to your attention, because all of us know at least one somebody that as long as you are smaller than they will give you whatever you need. Y'all, they'll love you all day long, celebrate you all day. But the moment you get bigger than them, y'all, they can't handle that. Am I in the right house? But a real friend, y'all, wouldn't have an issue with you being bigger than them. See, y'all, there's some folk who you're trying to be connected to. Y'all, they all right with you trying to connect with them because they driving the Cadillac and you got the Chevrolet. They all right with that, y'all. They all right because you got the flat and they got the mansion on the hill. But the moment the shoes are on the other foot, then you might have a problem. Because there are some people who can't stand to see other people get ahead. Come on, please talk to me. Please talk to me. Yo, every last one of us knows somebody. We know somebody who, in fact, are good with us as long as they are bigger than us. But the moment we become bigger than them, we got a problem now. But right here, y'all, how about this? How about David nor Jonathan had a problem with it? Can I tell y'all why? Y'all, here's why. Because they love each other like they love themselves. Y'all, if you find yourself getting envious and jealous of a friend, something's wrong with you. Jonathan and David understood that every good and perfect gift comes from above. They understood that whatever they had, y'all, they did not get it on their own. God gave it to them. Are you hearing me? Now, if you're connected to somebody who can only celebrate you when they have stuff better than you, then you ought to choose up. Get you another friend, because I need a friend who will celebrate me when I'm lower than them, to bring me up to where they are. But then I also need that same friend who then takes me above them and can still celebrate me. Lord, deliver us from haters. I'm through, y'all. I said, Lord, deliver us from haters. Deliver us from people who are always trying to pull you down. I need a friend who will lift me up. I need a friend who will lift me up. I said, I need a friend. Now let me help y'all with something. Just in case your BFF is not here, I know somebody who can lift you up. And when they lift you up, they'll bless you, celebrate you, and push you. I said, I know somebody who will lift you up, celebrate you. Don't worry about it. If your BFF is not here, or you don't have a best friend, don't worry about it. I know somebody who can lift you up, push you, and celebrate you. Hey! Hey! Excuse me, Carolina, but I know somebody who will lift you up, push you, and celebrate you. Can I call his name? Can I call his name? Now be careful when his name get called, because demons tremble at his name. Jesus is his name. I dare you, call his name. Jesus, he will lift you, push you, and celebrate you.